Rabbi actually knows that.
Okay, we are at the fifth piece, at the end of Tachlis Habriya, the goal of creation. So says the Ramchal, Achabriya ha'ikarit, the main creature, the focus of creation, be'emesi hamin ha'enoshi, is the human being. Is the purpose of creation is the human being, as we spoke about yesterday, and that is something that we should be motivating. When we look around and we see the beautiful world around us, to think, to remind ourselves, and that the Ramchal is teaching us that Hashem created every single thing for us, for human beings. The Chol Shar HaNivraim, and all other creatures, bein hashvalim bein hagvom, whether they are low or whether they are lower than us or higher than us. So one of the things the Ramchal is going to do is create this spectrum of showing us what is, I guess, going this way, showing us what is higher than us and what's lower us. Many pieces of parts of creation are lower than us. There are things which are seen as higher than us, spiritually speaking. Those are angels. The Ramchal is going to speak about the fact that angels are more spiritual beings, and nonetheless, even though they are the ingredients, like the material that makes up angels is higher, is more elevated, at the same time, nonetheless, Einam Elam Ba'avuro, they are here for us. So the fact that something is more spiritual doesn't necessarily mean it's therefore more of a focus of creation. There are things which are more spiritual, and nonetheless, they are here for us, says the Ramchal. L'hashlemas inyanav, in order to perfect us, l'fikol bechinos harabos v'ashonos haruyos limatzi bahem, in all the different facets. U'kamosh evar od l'fanim b'siyata d'shmaya, and we're going to explain this and go into more detail in the future. V'hinei, and haskala v'chol hamidos tovos, developing thinking or intellect and all of the good midos. When we think about what perfection looks like refining our thoughts and refining our actions, and more than our actions, our character, trying to change who we are, not just the way we act, but really get into our kishka, so to speak, and really change the person that we are. And when it comes to the material elements of the world and bad character, those are the things which cause deficiency. When we allow our bad character to run amok, when we don't take control of our character, that is what takes us away from Hashem, and that takes us away from perfection. And we are put into this world in between these two poles. We have the choice, and we're going to talk about free will more in the days to come, and that is that we could go towards better, more refined character and more refined and elevated thinking, or we could go towards the direction of bad midos, poor midos, and poor thinking as well. And the goal is obviously to go in this right way, and we're going to now elaborate next week in regards to what does it mean to be human from this perspective. It's worth noting that opening line, which seems so self-evident from a Jewish perspective, that the goal of creation is human beings, is something which actually the Rambam argues vehemently against. The Rambam actually, Moreh Nevuchim, quotes this type of view. I mean, the Rambam's writing this hundreds of years before the Ramchal, and he writes, there are many who believe that the purpose of creation is the human being. He says, and everything else is there for the human being. He says, not necessarily true. And he goes on to elaborate. He says, no, Hashem created each part of the world for its own purpose. We have to focus on what our purpose is, but there could be many other things in creation which have their own intrinsic purpose, not ours, and that's totally fine. And he has no issue with that. This touches upon, I know it's way off our topic, but this touches about, in the Christian world, the notion of aliens is a hotly debated, is very controversial. Like, how could there possibly be aliens? They have, two issues, if I understood correctly. One is they're not able to be, quote unquote, saved because they won't necessarily have access to the teachings that they believe each person needs to have to be saved. And B, like, if they're not relating to us directly, then how could there be how could they be here to help us? If the whole goal of everything creation is to help us, then that's not going to help us. Similarly, when you talk about when they realize how large the world is or large the universe is, this gets controversial. The Rambam says, again, hundreds of years before, these, or 1,000 years before anything's were being discussed, is like, who cares? God could create human beings. We have our purpose, and there could be other things which have their own purpose, and that doesn't detract in any way from our mission in life. We may have one mission, and something else, other beings, whether it's aliens or whether it's ants, doesn't matter. The point is, we have to know what our mission in life is, and there may be other things out there. Okay, sidebar, not really the focus of Derech Hashem, but just noting that his view over here is not one which is agreed upon by all. Okay.